Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film and they discuss it. Today we're talking 1982's The Slumber Party Massacre, which was directed by Amy Jones. And I'm your co-host Alec, and we were supposed to be covering The Lost Boys 2, but Eric is moving, so he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life right now. We switched that out, and luckily Andy Danish, longtime, guest of the show, jumped in last minute, suggested this film, and here we are. So, Andy, welcome back to the show, and thank you for suggesting the Slumber Party Massacre. So, what's up, Andy? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this one because it's just such a cult classic that had its own following. There are people who went to Comic Cons dressed as the bad guy.
Oh,
Roger Thorne, the one who chases people with the drill, who's causing literally the massacre at the slumber party. There's people who are cosplaying as him. So yeah, it definitely has its fans.
I can see that. Yeah, no, it's somehow slipped under the radar for me. I mean, I'd heard of these movies, and I think in my mind, I thought it was Sleepaway Camp, but it's obviously not. But same era, same genre, that kind of thing. But yeah, I had never seen this. So, what's your journey with this? When did you see this for the first time?
I first saw this around the same time when I was a teenager, going through the Blockbuster store, seeing all the kooky video covers that were in the store that we all had the morbid curiosities about, like
Mm.
just the random sort of like, the random videos like, Sleepaway Camp, for
Yeah.
example,
Hey, here
or yeah. Oh, yep,
there you
exactly.
go.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, every movie that had like a weird sort of like morbid, chaotic video cover.
Hmm.
And Slumber Party was just one of those because of the fact is you just had a guy with a drill hanging between his legs
Yeah.
with women, sitting screaming, and you just can't help but look at it and think, what the hell is this guy going to do with this drill? So it was one of those also that I couldn't let my parents know I was renting it because they would just think it is way too stupid and would just be like, "You are not watching that. We are not letting you watch that."
I
Uh,
mean, violence aside, this is basically like a softcore porn. I mean, my God. Not sex. There's no sex in it, but there is so much nudity. So if you were like 12 or 13 and got this, you'd be like, jackpot. This is like yeah, because this literally like, I always think like, wow, Carrie, is pretty jarring the way that opens up. It's just like going through the women's locker room, they're naked, everything like that. This movie, I think dethrones that in like the just like blatant graphic girls in a shower locker room scene that I'm like, whoa, whoa. And then throughout the rest of the movie, there's also just boobs everywhere. But yeah, as a kid, I can see why your parents wouldn't want you to get this. They're like, okay, so there's graphic nudity and graphic killing. Got it, got it, got it. Yeah. But this movie is very much in that the fever of the slasher genre in the 80s. I mean, this is like 82. I always want to say it goes from like 78 with like Halloween, maybe a little bit before that, but like the craze started with Halloween and then ended in about like 84. I feel like around like once Freddy started, then it kind of moved into like psychological slashers. But from 78 to 84, it was a lot of movies like this holidays, just like whatever they could, think of. We're gonna get a guy with a drill. That's the thing, and it's gonna go after girls at a slumber party. That's the angle here. So, dude, it's good. It's fun and it's different a little bit, a little bit.
it's very unique because it's unique, but it does borrow a lot
A lot.
from other genres and other movies around it. Like
Yeah.
it is definitely something that, like you said, it was a movie that was oh, it's a movie about killing teens, but this one's going to be with a drill. That's
Yeah,
what's going to make this different.
yeah,
But there are moment things in it, like the score, for example, like the electronic piano
yeah,
that kind of mimics the same rhythm and key and tone as like the Halloween one, where Michael Myers is stalking the girls and you hear like the creepy music in the background when he's kind of stalking them. And
hmm
there's a similar music pattern piano playing when the bad guy Thorn is stalking the girls with the drill. But
hmm
then all of a sudden, what's bizarre is that it becomes like this weird stalking electronic music. But then all of a sudden, it sounds like pipe organ music, and I feel like I'm watching Frankenstein all of a sudden because then all of a sudden it goes burn, burn, burn,
mm.
and it becomes very much like, yeah, I feel like I'm watching Frankenstein in that moment. And plus visually, the way it's shot, I also, you can't help but think of like Roger Corman, like the
Yeah.
schlocky B movies.
Well, this was
You
his. This didn't he finance this? I'm pretty sure he did.
Did he finance it?
I am fairly certain this is a Roger Corman movie. Yeah, because
Oh,
I watched like an interview where the director said that Roger had a few requirements, and that was mostly a boob quota. So, because yeah, New World Pictures, that's him, right? Wasn't that yeah, Roger Corman, founder of New World Pictures. Yeah, so he did this, or
okay.
he was the distributing guy for this. So yeah, so this is a Roger Corman like protege that made this movie.
And it definitely visually definitely feels like one.
Yeah.
Um, and there's other things about it. There's uh, well, my one of my main beefs with it is even though it's clearly just, it's a traditional slasher where you're following a guy with a weapon, killing teens, basic storyline, basic structure,
hmm
a lot unlike the other ones where you know kind of something about the killer a little bit. This is one where the setup for the killer, his backstory, is sort of like a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah.
Because like the only backstory you ever get with this guy before he starts, like after he starts killing, is like a radio broadcast while one of the girls is driving the car, and they say, "Oh, an escaped prisoner who was used prisoner arrested for killing five women has escaped from prison and is on the lam." But
Right.
that's the only thing we hear about, where this guy came from or what this guy's backstory, because we don't really see him doing anything else other than like stalking the girls. Like the first thing we hear him is like going inside the van of the repair woman outside the school.
hmm
He just randomly shows up and kills her with the drill. But we don't see anything about him beforehand. We don't know anything about him beforehand. Every time he makes an appearance, he's just on there with the drill, drilling people.
Well,
But
really quick, you're right, the radio thing, but then early on too, maybe right before or right after the radio thing, there's a newspaper that gets thrown on the girl's yard that says Russ, whatever. What was his name?
Thorn,
Russ Thorne
yeah.
commits murder 1969 Venice. So it says that's like the headline of the newspaper. So that's like you see
Oh,
that and the radio thing back to back. But other than that, you're right. There's not like a sheriff that's like Russ Thorne. He killed people 12 years ago in this town. Like there's none of that. But this does take place in Venice. So it is the same town that he did commit those murders and then escaped. Yeah.
well, it shows what I know, and again, shows how much I was paying attention. And like you
Oh.
said, exactly, blink and you miss it
But
moment. That's
yes, it
exactly
is.
what I did. I blinked, probably when that newspaper came about.
Yeah.
Um,
But it
and
is
there was,
very and Halloween inspired. Like this is like like have you ever heard like Sean S. Cunningham basically was like we're gonna make Halloween but like on Friday the 13th basically like we want to remake that.
mhm.
This I feel like is even more because this is in the suburbs. It's babysitter like with her, a kid across the street. Like this is like very Halloween. And even the music you were saying, the only difference I can think of is nobody in town mentions Michael Myers or whatever Russ in this, and also he doesn't wear a mask. That's
Yeah.
that's really it. Because even the scene where the girl's body like falls, when that guy's like looking at her, he's like, "Where is she?" And all of a sudden the body falls. I'm like, that's right out of Halloween. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah,
No,
that's
no.
this is a
Keep going.
Halloween like big time suburban slasher babysitter girl thing. Yeah, very much. But
Oh,
still fun.
oh, absolutely. And the other thing I read was that how it was originally written as a parody of slasher films.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be kind of like making fun of slasher films. And because there were so many kills and so much nudity in it, they
Yeah.
decided to just release it as an actual slasher.
It is. I
Uh,
feel like it's definitely it has like comedic moments, but I wouldn't say this is like, have you ever seen Student Bodies? You ever seen that?
mm-mm.
That's a 1981 slasher spoof. That's like a straight up slasher spoof. It's like the opening title card is like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis's birthday. Like it's just like, like it's all ridiculous. That's almost like a Naked Gun version of this. This has little moments, but this is still pretty straightforward slasher, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's I agree with you that there's definitely a lot of little moments that just kind of lend it to having a spoofier vibe. Like, for example, do you remember when they're in the little sister when she's on the bed
Hmm.
and she gets a magazine and it's supposed to be like a teeny bopper magazine.
Yeah, yeah,
It has Sylvester Stallone's face on it.
yeah.
It's not like Johnny Depp. It's not Christian. It's not any 80s like baby, not Leonardo DiCaprio. Sylvester Stallone.
Do you know what that magazine was though?
What?
That's a
No,
Playgirl magazine.
and that's right. It was a Playgirl
And that's a
magazine at that. That
real,
was
yeah, that's real. Like, and that's also in The Shining, dude. Next time you
oh
watch The Shining, right in the beginning, Jack Nicholson is reading a Playgirl magazine when the hotel manager comes up to him and he's like, "Come on into my office" or whatever. He's reading a play. I'm pretty sure it's this one too, but he's also reading a Playgirl magazine, and that's literally just dicks. Like, like it's Playboy, but for women.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's funny.
yeah,
I didn't. I think I thought they heard Sylvester Stallone doing an episode or doing a posing in Playgirl. I thought I heard it as a joke, but
no,
the fact that it's real
he
makes
did
me.
porn too, right before Rocky.
He did. That's
Yep,
right.
he was in like a video, like a porn video. So yeah, yeah, it's
I'm
interesting.
just gonna stick it in there. Oh, let
Yeah,
me put it up. I'm gonna, well, let me see how big it is.
yeah, no, that's so that'd be interesting to see. I'm sure you can find that on YouTube or something, maybe I don't know, but yeah, she's reading the porn. I mean. The plot of the movie is pretty thin. I mean, what we can go
Hmm.
over some of our favorite parts, but it's basically just like there's gonna be a slumber party. These girls are, I mean, they better be 18. I don't know. I'm guessing they're seniors, and they're doing this because they want to have like how they used to have it. They're like, let's have a night if it's just us girls hanging out, no boys, no bullshit. Like we'll get some beer and we'll whatever. And I think they're all on a basketball or some volleyball or
They're
something.
on
They're all on
a sports team of some
yeah.
sort.
So they're all fun and they're like, fuck it, let's all have the night together. So there's this one girl. I don't know why. Okay, really quick before I move on. This is a problem I have with early 80s movies like this. Prom night's the same way. I can't fucking tell anybody apart. All of their hair looks the same. All of like, there's like not the redhead, the curly haired girl. Like, no, like everybody looks the same in this movie. And I'm like, fuck, who's that girl again? But anyways, stupid gripe.
No, no, I agree. And I think in this one, the only thing they try to do to separate one is giving the sporty girl, the tomboy girl wearing a sports jersey, even though they're all like not wearing any clothing. It's like they're all in their underwear, they're all wearing like tank tops. The only difference is, oh, she's got a sports jersey on and like a ball cap on. That means she's the tomboy of the group.
Yeah, I'm glad that by like 85-ish, it felt like slasher movies were giving each character like that's the nerd, this is the stoner, this is the like bad boy, this is the slut. Like they gave but right now I'm just kind of like these girls are all kind of like just the same. Um So, so yeah. So then the weird thing is, there's this one girl. I can't remember her name, but she's the babysitter of the younger girl. And for some reason, they don't like her. They're like, we shouldn't invite like Stephanie, right? They're like, well, she's cool. It's like, I think she sucks. And it's like, okay. And she like overhears it. I like don't know. Maybe I missed something, but there's some reason that one of the girls doesn't want her there. So there's like dumb drama. But she's like, whatever. I got to babysit my sister anyways, so I'll be across the street checking in on the party or whatever. Um, but the girl who's throwing the party, her parents are out of town. And she's got this fucking creeper next door neighbor, like Mr. like Content or something, some weird last name that I'm like, what? That's not a fucking real name. Um, but he's like watching over them. But I'm like, I wouldn't trust that like 45-year-old single dude who lives
Mm-mm.
across the street to watch after my 18-year-old daughter. I don't know.
Especially one who comes over with a meat cleaver and is attacking slugs
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah, why are
You
you killing slugs, dude? He's like 55. I'm like, you are a psycho. First of all, we both live in LA. I've never seen a slug in my life out here.
mm-mm. No.
Where are
Was
these LA slugs?
was it a thing in 1982 or the early 80s that slugs were a issue? Like, was it like all of a sudden there was slugs infestation the same way we have like coyotes wandering around at night? We see slugs wandering around at night.
Apparently, this movie wants us to believe that in the 80s there was a slug epidemic in Venice.
A slug epidemic.
A slugademic, yeah. So luckily we don't yeah, so this guy, whatever, he's like a red herring. He's just like, in reality he's creepy, but in the movie he's supposed to be like a good guy, I guess. So yeah, so then the party happens. I mean, there is one kill, or there's two kills before that. This creeper dude, he gets, I don't know why they never, this is another thing that they never really explain is like why the drill? It's like, was he a construction worker? Like what is it? But he's got this power drill and he kills this electrician woman who's like working on the school. And then he kills another girl that's like, I left my books in the school, and like goes in there and he just is like, kills her. And then the rest of the movie is just like the night, it's literally like Halloween. It's like, boys come over and they like flirt with the girls, they go out to the garage, there's murders. And the whole time they're like, I guess this isn't going to be like old times now that there's boys here and like, stuff like that. Um, I did like the scene though where the girl like takes out the weed. She's like, Maui, wowie, seedless weed or whatever. And the guy's behind, like, don't worry, I won't tell your parents. And he like sneaks in. I'm like, this guy's a creeper. This guy is a real creeper. Um,
I I have to say I'm really curious where he got an 18-inch spade auger drill because I think those things exist. They are real. I at first when I looked it up, I thought this type of drill, this drill bit can't be real. Like, but I looked it up and they're like, oh, okay, they're used, like you said, at construction sites. They're used if you're like drilling into like tar or something,
mm,
or for like when you're making foundations and not just like, oh, drilling around the house to like fix something like a putting a photo up if you're like putting a screw into the wall. You're not using an 18-inch auger spade bit to like put a screw into the wall.
yeah.
But I think somebody tried to justify in the movie using one to create a peephole in the door.
Mm,
And
mm,
I'm just wondering I don't think that is that a real thing? I wasn't sure if that was a real thing where people used that size of an auger bit to create for that type of job. But have to say, I was very impressed with how efficient this guy was with it too. Because this thing, obviously, it seemed like it was a little wonky, but he seemed to not have any issues with the body count. Like he was just taking them out. Like he wasn't having any like he wasn't having a lot of tussles. He wasn't really having that many like back and forth up until maybe like the final three girls. But
mm,
throughout the end, he was just like, vroom, vroom, and he's just like going through, like he's going through like hotcakes.
mm,
I mean, heck, he has some creative kills. The fact that he's able to slit someone's throat like a machete with the
mm.
drill. I wouldn't have thought that he was going to do that. I thought he would just, poke a hole in the side of the neck. But he, was able to, and I guess the guy in the car, the boyfriend, where the boyfriend in the car, the fact that he's able to decapitate him with a drill, I
Oh
got to
yeah.
say, that's pretty impressive. This guy knew what he was doing. This guy was practicing.
Well, this guy is like a true psychopath because like Michael is like, he is fixated on Lori, and Jason, it's like, hey, if you're gonna come into my house, I'm gonna kill you. Leatherface, same thing. This dude is just going into whoever he finds basically. And the only reason he's going to this girl's house is because he knows her parents aren't home. He's like, sweet, I can get away with this really easily. But like he would have gone to anybody's house and he doesn't wear a mask. So he's like, I don't even care if you see me because I'm definitely gonna kill you. So yeah, this guy is like an actual psycho. And the weapon he uses, he's like fixated on that weapon. Everybody I just mentioned, except for Leatherface, everybody will kind of like, they'll use whatever they can find to kill people. This guy's like, no, drill only. Like I'm a drill guy. So, um, yeah, so he's crazy. He's been in jail or mental asylum since 1969, I think. So now he's out. He missed the 70s. He's back for the 80s. And
Yeah.
now, the girls are just kind of bullshitting with each other and the boys come over and, they
The
peep on them.
I have to say, those boys, they seem, so many of the boys, they try to do jump scares on the girls, and every single time they seem to have their ass handed to them by being flipped over. Like girls seem to know some good judo. They ain't letting anybody take them out. Like
Yeah.
they were taking self-defense classes, and all these boys, they seem like they're just such bozos because they think they could just walk up to the girl and be like, oh, she's going to be so scared, and boom, they just get thrown flat on their butt without even without even any struggling. So I was very impressed. And
Well,
these guys seemed like they're just, such bozos because they're kind of just like letting themselves just get thrown around and be like, oh, I guess it's okay. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go find them, get our asses handed to us even more. um so I was very impressed. It seemed like the girls could definitely take care of themselves, though, even though there was somebody with the drill chasing them. They it was like, oh, they were showing that they were scared and yet doing judo on like these guys, they're on the guys in their high school. So I'm thinking they could probably have taken care of themselves in like real life and reality. Because if this guy tried to use the same routine of like trying to just sneak up behind him with the drill,
hmm.
I'm just thinking, why not do judo on this guy as well and just flip him on his ass and, use his drill on him?
Yeah, if everybody kind of once they knew, oh, there's one killer, they should have stuck together. And like they do say that they're like, we should split up. It's like, actually, maybe we should stick together. It's like, no. And the boys, as you were saying, like they sacrifice themselves basically, and they're like, we'll one of us will run this way, one of us will run this way. Um, but yeah, you're right. I mean, they're definitely capable characters. And I think the fact that they're like sporty and they have knives, they immediately all get knives. So like, more prepared than the average slasher. And this movie was written and directed by women. So this is
Yeah.
kind of like a standout, I think, for this time specifically, of people thinking this is kind of like a misogynistic, male-dominated kind of subgenre of horror. And for this to be directed by a woman and written by a woman, I don't know. It's interesting. If this was done by a man, it probably would feel weird, because it's like there's so much nudity and like this guy is just like mowing girls down. But the fact that it's a woman that's making it makes it feel like different, I guess. I don't know.
No, you're right. I mean, the way it's cast, the way it's written, the way they stand up for themselves, they don't seem to screw around when it came to like trying to figure out and get down to business and figure out what was going on. I mean, heck, they had a whole basement full of tools. And one of them was just like, this guy's using a tool, I'm gonna get a tool myself. And she runs downstairs, she finds a power saw, she finds a machete, and she's just looking for different things to go to war with this guy. I laughed. I did chuckle a bit, obviously, because she grabs the power saw, and it's obviously on a extended cord. She doesn't think to look at that. She just thinks she can take this power saw and just run up the stairs with it. And so I wasn't sure if she knew it was she could like take it all the way up, or if she how far she could take it with it. But that, and also the machete seemed to be pretty effective against this drill as well. Like she was able
Mm.
to just whack off the tip of the end with it. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
a either a really weak drill bit or a really strong machete.
I'm gonna go
um
with the second because yeah, this thing is big and it's able to get through like a lot of stuff in a night. So I think the machete was sharp and cut right through it. Yeah. Yeah, that the ending is interesting. I mean, I don't want to rush through the plot too much, but I mean that's kind of it. I mean, he just comes and basically picks people off one by one. The girls across the street, like they get involved and it's kind of just like room to room. The power gets cut, the phone gets cut, and he just kind of gets in the house and starts killing people. The one scene that we did kind of brush over, and then we'll get to the ending,
oh yeah, yeah.
is the pizza delivery.
Oh, I was gonna,
When
yeah.
they order a pizza. They're like, "Hey, it's a slumber party. Let's get a pizza with like a buffet of Twinkies and all this." Like, dude, the Kool-Aid scene, like when she's pouring the sugar, I'm like, these girls are gonna get like diabetes from this slumber party. Um, but yeah, so they order a pizza, and I almost died when they said how much it was because he's like, "Hey, how much do we owe you?" And from the other side of the door, or no, wait, he said, "What's the count?" That's what he said, I think, and he said six. And I was like, $6 for pizza? I was like, I would die. I would die. But then he's talking about how many people he's killed because the count is six. So when they open the door, the pizza guy's eyes are both drilled out and he falls with the pizza or whatever. And it was the killer saying it. But for 1 second, I was like, if pizza used to cost $6 to get delivered in the 80s, like now it's like 40 bucks out here. Um, yeah. So now at the end, their coach comes over because they call her. And she's like, oh, like they were screaming. I guess I'll go check it out. Instead of calling the cops, I'll go check it out. So she goes over, and this scene was kind of weird. The killer like lays on the ground and like puts like a blanket on his face, basically. And he's just like, I'm gonna like just chill here for a minute. And then the coach comes in. She's like, girls, like, are you here? And then like sees the body on the ground and then they get in a fight. And that's kind of what kicks off like the final fight, you know. The coach gets killed. The lead girl like stabs him, but he like survives. They go outside by the pool, and then he like jumps and like lands on her. I don't know if it was the machete or the knife, and that kills him. And it really does kill him. But he falls in the pool, and then I think he jumps on the knife. I'm trying to remember what order that went in.
I think he jumps on the knife and then falls in the pool because he comes back and his hand is already cut off at that point.
Yeah, she's like,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, but it's great that you mentioned the pizza because I actually had one of the thoughts I had was when the delivery guy is dead on the floor and the pizza's on top of him,
Oh yeah.
and the three girls are sitting in front of him, and one of them's like, I'm kind of hungry. Can we
Ugh.
get a snack? And then one of
Oh,
them's like, well, what about the pizza? I think the pizza's okay. And technically, yeah, sure. The pizza, I guess, wasn't touching the dead body,
I
but at
guess.
the same time, the one's just like, oh, it's fine. She starts eating the pizza off of the dead body. That was the one thing in the movie where I was like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah, no, you have no idea. Like maybe blood got on the body. Like you don't know. I wouldn't. That's so gross. I know. And then like the scene that was kind of like a little rushed, it felt like, but it was kind of scary is when they go up in the bedroom and they like push the dresser in front of the door and they're like crouched down and then he comes in through the back window as they're talking. I kind of like that, but then they just like half the cast gets killed there, like, and they just, it's kind of funny, like in that scene, the girl that was eating the pizza off the body, the guy like kills her, they're like, Cindy, and then they're just like, well, she's dead, run, and they go upstairs and they push the thing, and then he comes in and stabs the blonde girl, and she's like, Stephanie, no, and then she just like runs, and I'm like, you could have helped and maybe stabbed him while she was getting stabbed. I don't know.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. But this movie does not do kind of the classic Friday the 13th or anything like that where there's not like a final jump scare or Michael Myers' body's gone. There's not like that final thing. It's very much the girls just like looking at each other like holy shit. And then the cops for some reason come. I don't know. I don't know how they did because they got cut off when they were telling the address, but anyways, the cops are coming and then the movie's just like that's it. And there is a sequel. There's multiple sequels.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
seen those?
I saw the second one,
Mm,
and I, yeah, the second one is more or less kind of the same, except they kind of give more bravado to the killer, and
okay.
his drill is a guitar, an electric guitar with a big auger drill bit attached to it. So he's killing people with his guitar drill bit, and he's kind of
Uh,
got like a Billy Idol look to it, sort of like a rock star thing going on. So he's a little bit more interesting, I think, visually as a character.
yeah,
Um,
that sounds pretty weird. Guitar?
and there's and then this first one, like you said, it's just there's really very thin plot. Like he goes around, he kills the girls, but then he gets defeated. Boom, story over. There's like that's all that happens. There's no other subplots. There's no side characters with side stories who are like, I wondered what happened with the pizza boy's mom, or like, I wonder what his boss is, if his boss is worried about him. I
Well, that's why I think this movie suffered a little bit because, like, Halloween, you have Loomis who's coming out and like filling in all of this backstory, and you get the prologue scene of Michael killing his sister. So you're like, holy shit. And that really hooks you. And the mask is scary, and the music's scary because, like, this guy, you see his face. And you're like, that looks like Phil Leotardo from The Sopranos. And you're like, it's not
yes.
as scary. And then he talks a little bit. He's like, "You girls are pretty. Like, I love you." And you're like, because like Norman Bates, he's got a whole backstory. Like, so you kind of get invested in those characters. And I think that's another reason why Black Christmas didn't work as well as Halloween. Because even though it came out first, actually, this movie is Black Christmas and Halloween smushed together.
Hmm.
It's a bunch of women in a house being stalked by a killer, but more like in a Halloween sense because you see the killer more. Where Black Christmas, it's like creepy phone calls, guys missing, like is always in the house. This one's more straightforward as a slasher, but no mask. So if you, I feel like if you like 80s slasher movies, you're gonna like this. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like dude, where has this movie been? But it's still like really, it's a fun movie. It's
I,
not
I
as funny as Sleepaway Camp though. I can't say it's not as memorable, the ending.
it's you're right, and I think the most memorable part is just the video cover in the store. You just
It's
see
cool.
it's one of those video covers that's just you constantly see it next to like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or Silent Night Deadly Night, and it's just one of those like video covers that just has a really memorable cover.
You like the
uh
naked women in it, Andy. I'm looking at it right now. It's just like they're like all like in their bikinis.
Whoa, liking naked women. Whoa, whoa.
You're just like, it was really intriguing, the cover.
There were no
No,
naked women on the cover.
no, they're not.
I guess I had to assume there were naked women based on the fact that there was a giant drill hanging between his legs. And they're all in like nightgowns saying, a guy with a drill in their nightgowns? This must be, some intense erotica going on right now.
I'm trying to imagine you as a kid, just like, what are they thinking? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
me as like a 5'5" kid, maybe like 12 years old, standing there just looking up, be like,
I want to read that. Uh,
um, Well,
No, it's good.
speaking of subplots, if you were to kind of try to create one for this movie, would you kind of like if you were to kind of create a character that would be similar to like a Dr. Loomis in Halloween? Like, do you think you could fit him into this story somehow, like a character who knew him from like when he was in prison and all of a sudden enters into the story somehow? Like, do you think that could actually be inserted at all to uh, complement the story or kind of fill it out a little bit? Or do you feel like it's not as it's too thin for there to be any additional characters to be introduced or added to it?
I think you could do it, but I feel like it would really feel like Halloween. And also not that I really feel like this movie is going for this necessarily, but I do kind of feel like it would take away a little bit of like the feminist message of it, of being like the women kind of save themselves. But the
Mm,
thing that I would think of would be like a cop from 1969 that was on the force when this guy did this, and
mm,
knowing that he escaped, he would kind of be just like on patrol and happen to find like he knows this guy's MO is killing young women. He's gonna drive around the suburbs. I don't know. Or he could know that they're having a slumber party somehow and he would go and keep an eye on them. But again, I think it would hurt this particular movie to do that. But why? Did you have something in mind?
no, I mean, I was just thinking creatively, like
Mm.
spitballing.
Yeah.
But I think what could be funny, since this movie does go in an absurd direction, what if you had it that you had a guy who comes in and is able to warn them because he was his former neighbor, and he would have the same type of neighbor relationship, the same way the characters Hank and Bill and Dale and Boomhauer do on King of the Hill, where they're next to each other. They're constantly talking about tools and like construction and like the types of tools that they have and how they fix things. So imagine him having a neighbor who comes in saying like how he introduced him to the 18-inch auger while he was helping him tar his driveway one day. And he was like saying, I feel partially responsible for introducing him to it was this moment that put everything in motion. I would see that if they wanted to introduce like a side character that maybe give some more backstory, maybe
Mm.
a little bit more push to kind of add. That's my take on if they wanted to like add something to it, actually try to thicken the plot a little bit. I don't think they could, like you said, but if it's something where they actually were to try to do it, that would be something I would think of.
Yeah, the only reason I think that the main three, the Freddy and Chucky, Child's Play, but Friday, Nightmare, and Halloween and Child's Play. The reason it works is because we know a little bit about these characters. Oh, Jason was drowned in the lake and he's come back from the dead, and Freddy was this child murderer who the family's burned. Chucky was a serial killer who put into a doll. Like we know about these guys, so we're like, ooh, but this guy, we don't know fucking anything. He's a killer. He looks like Phil Leotardo. He's got a drill and he escaped. And that is it. And that's all we ever know. We get the you're pretty or whatever, but that's not like Norman Bates level of like, mother issues. We don't know. We don't know. So I think that's why this movie's not really gonna have that franchise or the oh, I'm dressing up as Russ Tam or I guess you said they did. So some people do. Some people like it enough, but
Yeah,
this guy's not going to be on Mount Rushmore of slasher villains.
if you do look it up, yeah, you can see that there are guys who put on like all denim and made the drill as like cosplay characters for like Comic-Con or cosplay, or there are, if you go into like when you go into like comic book stores or like low boutique toy stores where there's like smaller boutique toy companies that'll make like random characters
Mm,
as toys. Like they'll
hmm.
do like horror movie characters.
Yep.
There is actually one that made a Thorn character with a drill. So
I could see that.
I think if you try to find it, you could try to find a Russ Thorn character. uh
Yeah. I would put this guy in the same like tier list as like the hook hand guy for the fisherman killer from like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like I'd put him in like
Yeah.
that kind of like B tier, C tier kind of slasher guy.
Yeah.
But but yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know. You got any last minute thoughts on the Slumber Party Massacre? It's not Slumber Party Massacre. It's the Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, okay. I mean, if they do a remake of it or, of some sort, then yeah, it just has to be Slumber Party Massacre,
Yeah.
without the.
Yep. Yep. Then you
Um,
know it's like, oh shit.
and I guess if they do a remake of some sort, they could probably lean into the feminist messaging a little bit more. Like have like I can imagine they could have more women gang up on him and kind of like
Hmm.
rise up against him.
Yeah.
Something fun. They could.
Yeah. Sorry, I not to cut you off. Exactly to that point though, I thought this movie was gonna kind of end like Death Proof. You've seen Death Proof, the
Yeah,
Quentin
yeah.
Tarantino movie where the women just like fucking wreck that guy. That's kind of what I thought this was gonna be. But sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
cut you off.
No, that's it. That's all I had.
Yeah, but it's not. It's like most of the women get killed. They kind of sacrifice their friends. Like, fuck, Stephanie. Well, fuck. And then just like leaves. And but yeah, I really was at the end. I was like, I bet they're all gonna get together. All they're gonna kill the men, all of their boyfriends are gonna die, but then the women are gonna like just like but that's no. But you're right, maybe today that is what would happen.
Oh, I guess one other thought or critique I had was that it takes a really long time before it actually gets into like the motion of like doing back-to-back kills because after like the first one or the second one, it's just a whole ton of like jump scares. And they
Mhm.
do so many jump scares.
Yeah.
And they do like 5 or 6 jump scares before they actually get to like an actual kill and then kick which snowballs into like more kills. But it was also one of those movies that almost bordered on just like doing too many jump scares, like
Mhm.
like falling into that traditional one of those pet peeves.
Well,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you, but I guess to be fair, at the time, it probably wouldn't be as so like, oh, but like we're so over jump scares as like modern audiences, you know. But it maybe in 1982 they'd still be like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that, you know. But like now we're like, here comes the music, here comes something. Like we always, you know, it's or the fake jump scare, and then all of a sudden the mirror shuts and like, oh, it's that it got us. Like it's, I was so tired of it. Um, but all right, well, Andy, thank you so much for jumping on last minute and for recommending this. Definitely, I'm glad that I finally got to see this, and I'd like to see more. I know there's other like My Bloody Valentine is one we
hmm
haven't covered. I think Maniac, I think is another one. There's a few from this time where I'm like, we gotta do those. Um, but yeah, we got you coming up in a couple weeks, months, for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. But we'll have you on before that. Um, but Andy, thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate you coming on.
thanks for having me. Always fun.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening in. We will be back next week. Eric will be back, and we will be doing The Lost Boys Part 2, The Tribe. So sorry we missed out this week. I'm sure there's so many people that are just can't wait to hear us talk about that. So, but thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week with The Lost Boys Part 2.